Hey there, darlings. Welcome back to the maternity ward here at Roots from Refuge Farm. This yard has lots of impending babies happening. Like over here, we have 3 goats that are getting closer to kidding. These 2 are showing less obvious signs. Virgie's definitely, well, everybody's gonna pee. That happens when I come out because they all stand up. Virgie's showing a little bit. She's looking a little bit closer. I'm curious if she's gonna go first or if she just shows more. But what we do right now to check, hey dude, what's up, Wit, is right here, let's see, Claire will stand still. Right here on either side of the goat's backbone, this is called their ligaments, and there are some muscles right here. They feel like pencils. Like right now they're hard because they're not super close to kidding, and you can feel those pencils. And if you've got goats you're kind of watching, you want to start feeling their ligaments a few weeks before they're due so you have a baseline. But this is going to get squishier and squishier, and the day that I come out here and I cannot feel these muscles at all, these ligaments have become so soft and pliable, it just feels super squishy and sunken in. We usually have a baby within 24 hours of that. So I was looking at my notes and calculating the days from breeding. So goat kids are typically born 150 to 155 days after breeding. There were a couple things, like I had exposed Virgie to the buck by herself first, and then there was one day when we sold some of our cattle that we had to put all the goats in together to keep them from running out. So I had marked that day. I didn't think anybody was in heat, but I just marked it to be sure for my records. We're past those days, so now we should be on track for kidding happening, and it's like 3 weeks at this point or so. So it's exciting. And then here is Miss Freya. Hey girlie, you okay? She is quite pregnant. So, will y'all remember back, let's sit down. All right. Back in, well, 9 months ago. One day, Fraulein, our young heifer, was in heat. And we were not ready to breed her. We did not want to breed her to our bull. But we came out one morning and he had laid the fence down, electric line and all. And we were just convinced that he had bred Fraulein. She was old enough to breed. We were just wanting to breed her to a different bull. Well, 3 weeks after that, Fraulein came back into heat. We rejoiced. We sent her over to our friend's house to breed their Dexter bull. And we thought, man, close call. Good thing we got out of that without an accidental breeding. And then old Frey here started bagging up. Quit, you stinker. Old Frey here started bagging up this last week, getting her big old udder there. And we realized that we are actually indeed about to have another baby. It's fine. We had her dried off, so it's okay. All right. I don't know exactly when it's going to be, but I did go back and actually I had posted a video, but she's definitely at the point that she's pretty dang close. Her udder's getting real big. So we should have a new little calf here pretty soon. As far as accidental breedings go, they happen on farms. I didn't begrudge you the good time you had, okay? As far as accidental breedings go, this one is definitely not a bad one. We were planning on spacing them out a little bit more, but it'll be fun. Oh, did I ruin your nice lay down? I'm sorry, I pulled on her halter because I wanted to look at. All right, so here, it's kind of a similar thing. You know, she's not super sunk in right here. She's probably still got some time to go. Basically, this is the same idea as checking the goats. This area right here will just get super sunk in whenever she's close. And her udder is pretty tight and full. Now, she does not hang low. She's got a really high carrying udder, so it's hard to gauge her on her udder. But once this is like real sunk in, I'll know we're really close. I'm sorry, I ruined your nap. You're the best girl. So as my goats do get near to kidding, you know, I'm making sure they have mineral, which they don't go through it that fast. At least not right now, they're not. But I am giving them these Lespedeza pellets, which this is just like a pelleted plant that is herbal support for parasites. I don't know if these are widely available. We have a local feed store called Daniel's Feed and Seed, and they carry these. And I just give, you know, a scoop or so to my goats every day. I can really only speak like anecdotally. I only know my own experience on them. But we had dealt with a little bit of like parasite issue, which we did treat chemically, because I do treat my animals. I treat them, I support them naturally and then treat them chemically as necessary. I try to let that be a last resort, but it happens. My personal view is I like to go the organic route. But in a life or death situation, especially with an animal that has a history of being treated chemically, I will treat them before I will let them die. But this is more like an organic support thing, and I think that it's helping because I have not had to treat my goats again chemically, and everybody's looking really good. They know I have this, so they're jumping around over here. That was the last little bit in that bag. Pandemonium. Y'all ready for our milking chats again? Not far off now. Few weeks till kidding, and then I milk a little bit, but I don't pull kids at night until they're at least a couple weeks old, and then we kid share. So we let our mamas raise their babies. I think it makes for hardier babies, but more than anything, it provides a little bit of flexibility for the farmer. It's really nice to kid share and calf share, because if for some reason you can't milk, you can leave the calf or the kid on and you don't have to worry about infection. You still have to go out and feed the animal because they have to have the same amount of feed, but you don't have to milk them if they're going to get drained. If you don't have a kid or a calf and you have dairy animals, if you can't milk, yes you can. Like, it doesn't, you got 103-degree fever, it doesn't matter, you're going to be milking an animal because you don't miss. You have to do it to take care of them. Hello, you majestic animal. Yesterday I was in my RV recording some podcasts, and two of these roosters literally chased each other around the yard the entire 40 minutes that I recorded. I don't have any hens in here for them. Those were just extra roosters. And we used to have another one. He got really aggressive, and so he found himself in the pot. But those three more or less give us our space. They hang out with the goats all the time. We like to keep some chickens in here because they scratch through any droppings and kind of help with the fly population when it's warm. But I love them. I love the fact that their crows just make it sound like a farm. So after our really cold temperatures and a few inches of snow that was very unusual for here, we're back to warm South Carolina winter days. So today wasn't quite as warm as tomorrow is going to be. Tomorrow the high is 71, 21 Celsius. Yeah, so this is why actually when people ask me about like winter sowing and stuff like that, I don't do a lot of winter sowing because I have to really maintain and manage my any sort of sowing I'm doing under cover when it's cold, because we have these warm spells and it makes things germinate. Like this last cold snap we had where we had a really hard freeze, these beds that I had were full of sunflowers that just volunteered from seeds that fell. And I mean, I could get germination on any number of things over the winter. I can't keep it alive because it will freeze again. But yeah, now we're having to go back through, and I'm not doing it today. Today was overcast. Well, it's starting to get sunny now, but it's evening. Tomorrow is going to be sunny, so I'm going to have to go open up all the high tunnels, fully vent any greenhouse, like any covers I have. I don't have a lot of covers on right now. I didn't sow a lot outside, but I would have to go through. If I were to not open my greenhouse tomorrow, there's a very good chance that all the brassicas that I have in there, the broccolis and stuff like that, would all flower. Just in like one, because if it's going to be 71 outside tomorrow, it will probably be at least like 90 Fahrenheit, 32 Celsius in my greenhouse. It's definitely wild. I have found YouTube so fascinating to share experiences and like hearing what is normal to other people. Like I've been watching my friend Ruth Ann Zimmerman's stories on Instagram, and you know, they're just casually out there milking their cows when it's -20, and she posted this morning, nothing like -20 to make you feel positive for 20. And when I tell people I am freezing at 20, it's because through the summer I am routinely working in 95. So yeah, it's definitely, we acclimate to what is normal for us, and it becomes normal for us, and then anything else is not. There is garlic. You can see these little guys popping up. There's some here. They're just all throughout. A couple different kinds of garlic. So like my parsley here got a lot of damage from the winter weather, but it's a pretty hardy thing. So you just cut the damage off and it comes back with fresh stuff. All in these little spaces. So the idea is with the garlic planted in the middle, you can plant things on either side. Because we'll be harvesting that out about June, is about the time that all of the other things we plant in here get big. Part of garden planning for me is this. I have been in this garden just walking through it every single day. Because I actually like to get on the computer and make my plan. I have pen and paper, I make my lists. But being in the actual garden allows me to visualize things, just how my brain works. Jeremiah's not like that. He can really visualize things on like paper or on a program or planning, but I just do way better being in actual spaces. This is also kind of cultivating the desire to do it for me. I think one of the greatest gifts that we can get is longing, really wanting something. When I look back on all the years that I really wanted a farm and it felt absolutely excruciating that I couldn't make it happen, that ended up being fuel that later was absolutely priceless, because I would really just like lean into remembering that longing and be like, oh, I'm not going to give up now. Oh, snap. Well, I was watching the wrong cow. That mama is pushing a baby out right now. That's my beef mama, Ginger. I told y'all last week she was close. I want to make sure that's okay. And I'm not 100% sure that everything looks right. And I'm by myself. About an hour later and it's getting dark, so we just ran over to the storage barns and grabbed some stuff. Alright, well, I noticed that Ginger was in labor. Now, this is our beef cow. This is the only one we kept of all of our full beef cows. They're Devons. And I've been watching her. I knew she was close to giving birth. But I mean, as I was filming, I looked up and saw that she looked like she was prolapsing a little bit, which is essentially when vaginal or uterine tissue comes out, which it's supposed to stay in. And Maya actually pulled in. I went out into the pasture. Maya actually pulled in right as about a few minutes after the last clip that you saw. And he called our vet. So Jeremiah called Wes to come over and help because he needed another set of hands. And they are throwing together the small pin with the chute to be able to catch the cow with the head gate.
Because she's not a dairy cow, so she's not just gonna like,
yeah, she's not gonna stand
follow us or stand. Like if I start touching her, she's gonna start freaking out.
And essentially what we're doing here is they're gonna get her caught and get her in the head gate and get the prolapse real clean, and then pack it with sugar, which will help it shrink, and hopefully it'll go back in because the calf's still in there and she's pushing on this vaginal prolapse. It's not a bad prolapse. It's not a bad prolapse. It's just some. Now, you know, we have a large animal vet, and if you are homesteading, you may know that finding large animal vets to even service your animals can be difficult. We're gonna go over here because they're working and I want you to be able to hear. I'll stand here by this fence with caution because the electric line is here and hot. And one time I was filming not paying attention, I lifted my leg up and shocked the tar out of myself. Here's what I'm dealing with. We actually are extremely liberal in calling our vet for issues because we are first generation farmers. And I still feel a little bit of imposter syndrome calling myself a farmer. We're homesteaders. We're doing this on a small scale just for ourselves. I have one beef cow now, like one mama cow. That's the scale that I am beefing on. And we call our vet. We send them pictures, we send them videos, and we make the choice to listen to their professional opinion. This is what they said. They said you may be able to do nothing because it's a pretty minor thing and she may push the baby past it. This probably happened because she was pushing laying down. But they said you could do this, and we're going to do it. We do what we can to try to help our animals. We went through a lot of loss last summer. I mean, we spent $1,500 on vet bills in a week trying to save Fern, our Jersey, and at the end of that, she still died. My first real loss on a farm was a goat named Delilah who got milk fever. And the mentors that I had at the time, we got our goats from, we called whenever she went down and they walked us through. And mind you, at the time, there's no way we could have afforded to spend anything on getting a vet for that animal. If there even was a vet, there wasn't actually a vet that worked on goats in that area at that time. But we called them and they walked us through everything. And we nursed this goat around the clock and then she died. And we called them back and we felt like such massive failures. We were like, oh my gosh, we did everything we could and it still happened. And they were like, yeah, we knew whenever you called us and told us the symptoms that this would likely be the outcome. And we're like, you knew? Why didn't you tell us? Like, why did you tell us to do all that stuff? And they were like, well, that's what you do. And now, obviously, I have the capacity to call the vet out when there is an issue. And I take it as a lesson that I'm paying for. You know, I'm paying to try to save the animal, but I'm also learning what to do. If this happens in a cow again, I'll know how to handle it. And beef is different than dairy. There is also that. You handle beef cows differently than you handle dairy cows. At the end of last summer, I had somebody send me some write-up that somebody had done on me. It was just like on a forum or page or something. And somebody had written this absolutely scathing thing about, you know, don't listen to Roots and Refuge because they are just terrible at animal husbandry and they just kill their animals and it's just like the scathing thing. Cliff's note. If you see something that somebody wrote about somebody on the internet that's negative, don't send it to them. Like, what other people think about me is frankly not my business. And I am actually mostly comfortable with being misunderstood. The place where it nags on me is the places where I feel a little insecure. And I'm sharing all of this with you because there are a lot of first-generation homesteaders. There are a lot of people who are growing their own food as they should be. It's good, it's necessary, and the localization of food is something I have been championing for the last 15 years and I will continue to do so. There has to be some grace to learn, and stuff may go wrong. You may spend your money and spend your time and pour your heart into it and still lose them. That's normal. That is a normal part of farming. Crap like this happening is a normal part of farming, and whenever this first came up, I turned the camera off. I honestly got really panicky and emotional because I'm like, no more loss. And then I stopped and I thought about it and I'm like, man, I'm more concerned right now about some buster on the internet misunderstanding and honestly showing their own ignorance of the situation and judging us than I am about the fact that we need to roll our sleeves up and get to work on this cow and do what we can for this cow. So this is me getting the camera back, showing you what I can. It's now almost dark out here. Man, if you guys are going to take this on, I hope you learn everything that you can. I hope you put your whole heart into it. I hope that if there is only a sliver of pulling an animal through, you'll do whatever it takes. And I hope that if there is failure and loss, you will not let that be the end of your story on a farm. Because if we all throw our hands up when it's hard and leave it to the professionals when it comes to our food, then we are at the mercy of a system that treats its animals a hell of a lot worse than we do. So, those are my thoughts. A little hot around the collar, I understand, but I had to give myself a little pep talk there, and I decided to share it with you because I know a lot of you guys are out there learning how to do this stuff, doing the best you can, and carrying around a bunch of judgment, and I don't want you to let that make you quit. And the best way that I can encourage you in that is when I face the same judgments, not to let it make me quit. All right, so they're building the pen to get her into, so they can get her into the head gate. This is, it's getting really dark. It's going to be really hard to show this, and I want to go ahead and finish the video up and put it up today. But I will update you guys in the next one and let you know how Ginger is. Everyone with cow experience is assuring us that it should be just fine. So here's hoping. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today and all the days you do. God bless you. Until next time.